So we're currently only, as you mentioned, only about 2 weeks away from the point when the U.S. government is in a position where it's going to run out of money to start paying its bills. And the negotiations as we go into that meeting today are still hopelessly stalled. Republicans and Democrats remain very far apart on fundamental issues as Republicans try and force concessions out of the Biden administration on spending, and the Biden administration is reportedly still proposing some tax breaks and things that remain red lines for Republicans. So the clock is really ticking as we approach what could really be a disastrous event.
Yeah, when you talk about what could be a disastrous event, I guess with any case of brinkmanship, it's a question of who blinks first. And in this case, I just wonder which side is actually going to end up caving first. And if the Democrats do go along with spending cuts, where are they going to come from?
Ultimately, and yeah, this is a very political issue. Both sides are kind of positioning themselves and looking and wondering how the public would interpret this event and how it plays out. So how does this really get resolved? And what are some of the things that are on the table? I think ultimately, regardless of who gets blamed immediately, if there's some big hit to the economy and voters are feeling bad, the administration ultimately will get hit. And the Democrats and the Biden administration, they know this. So I think that they're looking potentially to make some concessions here. Some of the things that are on the table are, pulling back those COVID relief funds, which could save a good deal of money. On the spending side, there's also some talks about work requirements or even some permitting issues that Republicans care about. And then also some broader potential cuts to programs. But, these things could be, put on the record and would be placed, as cuts over the next 10 years. So I think the Democrats will ultimately make some concessions if we are going to reach a deal, but they'd be a lot smaller than the trillions that Republicans are currently asking for.
Jesse, we've heard some pretty strong warnings from Janet Yellen and Joe Biden, but ultimately we obviously don't have a deal yet. What will spur policymakers to finally come to an agreement? What's it going to take?
I think it'll take something pretty big at this point. As I said, they remain pretty far apart on these real core issues here. Right now, markets are kind of taking the news in stride. We're seeing some early signs in treasury markets and CDS spreads that markets are starting to take notice. But it may take some real financial volatility or a bit of panic, really, on Wall Street to spur some action by policymakers. Some Wall Street officials are coming in to DC also on Thursday to talk with Janet Yellen. So I'm sure there will be, both sides will be pleading the case for some action there.